I've received about a half dozen PMs from folks that told me that Antonio Damasio's Descartes' Error, the book, was something that left a profound influence on their thinking. And I suppose this video is certainly related to that topic, but it's also related to atheism and a number of other thoughts I have in general about the effects of emotion on intellectual functioning. One of the interesting things that I already knew before I read the current Time magazine about FDR was that FDR was 100% convinced that he would walk again. It wasn't a belief or a hope, it was a certainty, even though he was provided with scientific evidence that was incontrovertible that he would never walk again. I suppose he needed to believe, to be sure that he would walk again. It was terribly important to him. Another thing that's interesting is a lot of the folks that took LSD in the 60s that were involved in scientific research on the drug got carried away and dropped scientific method. And folks said those that are participating by taking LSD should not be doing experiments because they became prejudiced. And from first-hand knowledge, I understand this prejudice. There is this profound emotional experience you get from taking LSD, a feeling that this is it, this is right. And when you're not taking it, that emotional, that powerful emotional feeling sticks with you and it alters your thinking. It interferes with rational thinking. Eventually, you might outgrow this, but it can take a very long time, and taking the drug repeatedly can reinforce this. And then there's love. Now, I never thought about this before, but Strophanthus mentioned that perhaps we should reconsider the value we place in romantic love. After all, it results in complete irrationality, as exemplified by the governor of Illinois and his adventure. But I had never thought of this. I mean, it never occurred to me. And I asked Stroph about this. I said, well, how do we make that decision, like whether we should value it or not? And, you know, he gave me a great answer. It may not seem like a great answer, but I believe it's the best answer. He didn't provide any framework or basis for making the decision other than we just decide. And I'll leave it at that. But the point is that certain experiences can lead to this profound emotionality that absolutely interferes with rational behavior. And maybe this is good, maybe it's good for the survival of the species, maybe it's bad, or maybe we decide. Now, since I've been on YouTube 3 years, I've been hearing the same old arguments about people that believe in God and hell and eternal damnation and suffering. And there are atheists that are going to be yelling and screaming, essentially saying that these folks, well, they're not thinking this through because if they are, they're sanctioning torture, hideous torture, and they yell at them. Now, some don't actually yell, but I think of them as yelling atheists. I think I first got into this in video replies with Rosebush. But it always occurred to me as kind of funny. And then now there's a new generation making the same arguments, but so much better. More intelligent, more articulate, and with better video skills. And YouTube has grown up too in its ability to support better videos. Folks like The Peach, Zomgits, Nicotine, and Facts versus Religion. Now, I was on Blog TV with Facts versus Religion, and I typed in a comment regarding, you know, she was saying that these people are nuts or whatever, you know, and I said, well, they don't have a choice, and she got all into me. I only typed with 2 fingers, but I was basically saying that they're not able to think, and we got into it, you know, a while, and then someone made a comment that apparently was even stupider than what I just said, and then I was let off the hook there. But I wasn't actually thinking it through. I was just talking about what I believe. And after I thought about that and the other things that I had just brought up, it occurs to me at least, and I think there's nothing wrong with yelling and screaming at these folks that believe in this crazy stuff. But it seems to me kind of like yelling and screaming when you hit your toe on a piece of furniture, because, you see, it occurs to me that if you're at the emotional point where you're not holding on to your religion so great, then Dawkins may convince you intellectually that, gee, this doesn't make sense. But if emotionally you need it, you need to be able to know you'll be able to walk, that there is an afterlife, that you will be rewarded, that there's a purpose to all this. These aren't intellectual, these are emotional issues. Unless you're at that point, then no intellectual argument will get you anywhere. You're not able to think. You have no choice. And I believe this. You have no choice. That choice can develop, but it's not going to develop if you're at that stage through any kind of rational intellectual argument, because you're not ready for that, and you'll twist it, and you'll change it, and you'll make excuses for it. And you'll be like Jack Together for Peace, twisting and turning and doing all these things. But I think the idea that those folks either haven't thought it through or are evil are not the only two options. I think another option is they really do not have the mental flexibility currently to evaluate situations rationally. Now, is there some kind of solution to this? Well, you see some folks that are a little bit more mellow. By the way, nicotine is just naturally more mellow, but he holds the same views. Neoplum is essentially more toward the Coughlin end, engaging a little bit more. Coughlin's gone a little bit overboard with Big Jerry there. Do I think that you can engage people on YouTube and change them emotionally? Well, unfortunately, I'm kind of a fatalist. I don't think so. But I could be wrong. If you want to go ahead and yell, that's fine. Those kind of arguments. I mean, I understand those arguments. But then again, there's somebody else I really like, Christoph Seven, Brandon. Because, like, the way he handles this types of things is when people come up with those ideas, he doesn't really yell at them in the same way. He's just astounded at their stupidity, at them not seeing this, you know? It's like, it's not there. It's magical. It's like unicorns up in the air. Now, I know that all of these things, I haven't put them together in a nice gift wrap package, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at. Take care.